Well, I think we're going live. Here we are. Welcome, everyone. This is Mgtow Values, and I guess we're going to get lamprey milked up here pretty soon. And there has not been an official declaration. I'm just going to come right out and say that. And if you feel like it's clickbait, well, that's what you feel. And it's good to feel things, and it's good to sense things in every way. And intuition is a powerful guide. But what we do see is that systematically, incrementally, that America is declaring war on itself in every way. And you feel like you want to have some support somewhere, and you go there for support and find out, no, they're willing to dispose of men just as much as anyone else. There's only one avenue forward. There's only Mgtow Ghost Level 4. Yes, at times you must interact with the plantation. You must engage to some extent to get what you need to live. And there's no sense in not living in this life. There's no sense in thinking you can hide away in a cave. No, you must interact with this system, but this system is predatory. This system is just another means of making sure that men are disposed of. And it's not just the men on the receiving end, it's the men on the giving end. And we may point to the Brazilian philosopher Paulo Freire for noticing this and placing it so eloquently into words. But what we do see is the disposability of men in the police and the disposability of men by the police. And at the same time, we know that many of the police are doing what they should be doing, what they were assigned to do by the community, which is to protect the community so that most people can just go about their daily business and not worry about violent psychopaths. And there are not many of those. And then occasionally you get young people who are a little hot under the collar. Okay, they need to be, shown the right path. And then there's, just people who think that they can take advantage of other people because they're psychopaths or narcissists or something. But we cannot declare that these people always have our best interests at heart. That sometimes the police are there to benefit the police and they don't care who they step on to do that. And we don't see accountability systems. We see now large systems. This is not any longer a small community. This is not even an urbanizing rural community. This is an urban community. And with all these systems of communication, command and control, and all the military hardware, we're into a system that is just out of control. Anyway, we'll get Lamprey Milt on to join us here in this discussion. I wonder where he is. Maybe I'll try to call him up here. Mgtow Smurf, how are you? How are things going? Hope things are going well. We've got Lamprey Milt in again. This will be, I think, the third or fourth time he's come back and joined us on this channel. He's got his own channels, and we'll get that information from him. Good. It's good there. I'm glad to hear that, Mgtow Smurf. You and so many other men are smart and wise in these difficult times. There's chaos on the streets, and this chaos is being supported by corporate interests, by certain government interests. We seem to be in one of the bizarrest election campaigns I've ever seen. And we've got this COVID hoax, over top of everything with people being banned, including, the President of the United States of America. And oddly enough now, Madonna has just been removed from Instagram. And let me see if I can get Lamprey up. And, we have had some difficulty in getting the stream happening. But we'll see whether we can get it right. Let me see. We've got...
Powering on. Mic on.
Put it right there. Good. Let me try to take care of things here. Okay, there we go. Lamprey Milt, are you there?
Hey, what's up?
Well, let me see this.
Mgtow Plenty 2020.
Yeah, Mgtow Plenty 2020. And there is... You see ever more men waking up to this. Yeah. And I think we need it at this time because, the topic that you sent out today, I think is a very serious topic on the screen right now. we see asset forfeitures surpassing burglaries. What in the hell does that really mean?
Oh, which article are you talking about?
The asset forfeitures surpass burglaries.
Yep, police officers have confiscated more, more things than what burglars and robbers would.
Oh my God. This is, and that graph that we see on the screen, the red line is the police, and it came up from, basically zero, just, under one, and now it's over $5 billion is being taken. In fact, the Canadian government has a warning to travelers traveling down to the United States not to take money across the border, because there has been huge amounts of money taken from Canadians, driving down for a holiday in the States.
Mm-hmm.
The cops will just stop the car with a Canadian plate and take money, drive away. This is what they call highway robbery, isn't it?
Can you hear me?
Not really. I heard a or something like that. I asked, this is like highway robbery, isn't it?
Yes, it is highway library. Yeah, it's. And look, I found the article maybe about 2 years ago. I found it very fascinating. Since COVID's happened, I've seen a lot more police present. I've seen a lot more helicopters. I've seen a lot more various types of law enforcement. Even my family has made a note of it. I was in the car with my father going to the park, and he, by the time we reached our destination, the park, he says, "Did you count how many cops were on the road?" I go, "No, I did," and he made a number. He says, "I've never seen that many cops in such a short distance." So I think since post-COVID, or while we're living through this turmoil, there's been a lot more police present.
Do you think that this police presence is here as like a predictive programming to get people used to seeing police everywhere?
You're breaking up, buddy.
Oh, jeez, I don't know what's going on. We had good conversations when we're not streaming.
It's as soon as you start streaming, it starts cutting in and out. Do you have Skype? Do you have Skype by any chance?
No, I don't have Skype yet. I'm not on this computer,
No.
so.
Why don't we try just the pre-recording and see if that works?
Well, maybe so. But I like.
You want to just do that?
I like the live streaming aspect of it. But
no, I know.
Why don't you try Discord? Can we get onto Discord? Do you have Discord?
Yeah, we have Discord. I'm gonna call you real quick.
Yeah. And let me just check, make sure Discord's up here. Yep, I got Discord up here. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Let's go back to Hangout. Are you still there? Okay then. Let me get into Discord then. I'll get into Discord. Broadcast 1. I'm voice connected. I'm in here. You're in here. There. I'm not sure what's going on, but I may have had some misstep on the Hangout in the OBS. And, all these technical issues. It used to be so easy. One has to say that. It used to be easy. And now it's hard, but we're hopefully going to be able to get Lamprey in here with the Broadcast 1 in the Discord. Anyone else who wants to drop in, please do. We're in the Discord. Join this conversation. You can hear MV but not Milt. Okay. Yeah, I may have had trouble on a wrong setting on the OBS. So I may be able to fix the issue with the Hangouts. Lamprey Milt does not seem to be coming in. I'm not quite sure what to do now. I don't see him connecting here in the broadcast one. I wonder if he can hear me. Let me just message him here. Can you hear me? And we'll just send that out and see if he gets back to me. And yeah, there we go.
No, I don't hear you.
Oh no.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Yep. Anyway, if you can hear me, go back to the Hangouts. Go back to the Hangouts. I think I've got it fixed. I think I do have it fixed. Let me actually just get out of this, and sorry about the problem, people. We're having some difficulty. It may have been my my snafu here, dealing with OBS and YouTube. You know, they're not making it easy anymore, and I'm sorry about that. Oh my, isn't that something? I just got an image here. Apparently, Biden doesn't sniff black people.
Hello, sir.
Yep. How you doing, Lamprey? Are you in here? Can you hear me?
It's not as bad as before. Like, we'll just that out.
Okay.
I really, truly think it's the Hangouts because it eats up a lot of bandwidth because it's video. And
right.
me and I am had the same problem for a while. And then once we made first we did Hangouts, then we did Discord, and then we transitioned to Skype. And since we've been using Skype, we haven't had the problem since.
Right.
That's all.
Well, I can set my bandwidth to audio only, and we'll do that. That's on incoming, and outgoing is set the lowest. So I'll remember to fix that up. Anyway, you were saying that there's a lot of police presence, and I asked whether this is just like a precursor to what's going to be normalized. This is an attempt to normalize police everywhere.
Yeah, I think what they're doing is they're bringing more police out into the suburbs as more of a control mechanism, because what you're going to see is more and more people having much more vitriol, more anger, more hostility in public settings. So they want the police relatively close to city centers and stuff. So, for example, during COVID, they had cops on the beat. Never seen cops on the beat in my life. I actually engaged with the police officers, asking them, what are you guys doing? And basically they're monitoring small businesses to make sure that they were all closed, social distancing, mask laws, yada, yada, yada. That hasn't changed. So I've noticed a lot more of a police presence around my neighborhood and things like that.
You know what that sounds like to me, that the police are on the beat in order to ensure that people are not working. This sounds to me insane. Insane.
Yeah, it's true. I never thought of it like that, but yes, making sure people are not actually working.
I don't know how we don't see that as the action of an enemy. I'm looking at the debt of America now. It's gone up, I don't know, 5 trillion in the last 5 months or something like that. And we're at 27 trillion, and the first trillion took 200 years, and then it's just going up exponentially almost now. This is not a sustainable path, and the police are out stopping people from working. This is not sustainable at all.
Well, I thought by now there'd be some I thought there would be much more civil unrest by now. My guesstimate was mid-July. Now that they're pulling the 600, honestly, I don't think they're pulling the 600. I don't know where it is anymore. First, they're telling me it's 200. No, 600's back on. Again, there's this WWE match that there's already an outcome, and they're pretending like it's a left versus right issue when they've already determined what it's going to be. Give me 1 second because I have to turn my air conditioner on. It's really hot. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, we don't know what's going on, and different countries are handling it differently. But when you're paying people not to work, it's not a sustainable situation. And is it going to be 70% of someone's income? Hey, Mgtow Warrior, you're in. That's great. Great to have you. You know, are you getting money from this? And Mgtow Smurf, anyone, any Americans, are you getting money? Is it $600 a week or a month, or is it 70%, or what's it going to be? And this is maybe why there's no great civil unrest, because people are getting enough money to live, and okay, they'll just hang by. And pandemic, you don't get no trillion. You don't get no trillion. I don't know what's happening in Germany. Are they paying you to stay home? Well, they do anyway. And, paying men to stay home and not work, this is just not right. And, but yeah, there will be when the hunger starts. That's what I said a long time ago. When the food riots start, you're going to see something. People are, I think, are being, the eviction prevention stops at the end of this month or something. And so people will be allowed to evict non-rent payers. And I hear that, 3 million or something rents are not being paid. And so there's just no way that, you're going to have that many people thrown out onto the streets without some, blowback. I think we have Lamprey Milk back. Do we have Lamprey Milk back?
I'm back.
So I was just saying there is some confusion as to whether people are going to be paid 70% of their income, or the $600 or $200, and then the eviction seemed to be set to start next month. Are we going to see what you said, civil unrest?
Again, there's a lack of letting things go. We're trying to do too much in keeping the way things were, and people aren't realizing that, hey, look, we have to pull the plug at some point. And there's a lack in apprehension of pulling the plug on the economy. The economy's already destroyed. And it was destroyed long before COVID. COVID exposed the chinks in the armor that, look, if it just takes 1 or 2 months and this whole country's toast. Whether that was China, whether it was the Federal Reserve, was it the corporations, whether it was the Marxists, doesn't really matter. The economy was completely overheated post-2008, and we're living off the fumes of the past 70-odd years of post-World War II economic buildup. And then the parasites came along. There was attorneys, globalization, overregulation, the make-ready jobs. It was all bullshit. We have to realize that we can't sustain ourselves. The support systems that were built by the forerunners of this country, the Social Security, the different type of grants and programs and welfare and all these other type of things, they were supposed to abide by a certain set of guidelines that were intangible. Certain mores and ethos and cultural, expectations of the individual, what you're supposed to do, that's all been thrown out the window. We're not, the single mom can't not every mom can be a single mom. Okay, you can have some alimony, you can have some of this, and we've indulged ourselves. We've become very lazy, and now it's just, people are just, taking advantage of the system, more or less.
So we're in a situation of overindulgence based upon past successes. I think this is what happened to the Roman Empire, that They had
Right, but the Roman Empire took thousands of years. Here we've sped it up, and what is it? I think what do they say about democracy only lasts like 200 something years or whatever it is. Even though this isn't a democracy, it's a republic. But the problem is that we've turned into somewhat of an empire, and we're not a republic anymore. And signs of being an empire is bringing in people from the third world, cheapening of labor, things of that sort, going out and fighting other wars and that type of stuff.
I'm agreeing with that, and I'm seeing that we have something that we can identify as an American empire, but we have the bigger empire of the West. I think that this overindulgence is happening across the West. It's not just America; it's the West, and that certain countries like Sweden maybe pass through the COVID challenge, but they themselves are bankrupt. They're hoping for America as the savior to absorb their exports and to keep things flowing. But this overindulgence is an overindulgence after World War II, and built up as well from the savings of Europe over a couple of hundred years of great promise and projects of building and industrialization. But it's all overindulgence, and now the piper has to be paid, as it were. And I guess the Pied Piper, if you don't pay the Pied Piper, they take your kids and lure them out of the town. I think we're into that fairy tale story now, because what we see are young men being turned into women and young men being beaten down. And tomorrow on the listening post, I have a brief discussion maybe about the simp and anti-simp war. And so we've divided the community in so many ways, and there's so many people.
What is that? What's that about?
The simp and anti-simp war. Apparently, it's going on. Young men are doing this. This is a battle surrounding ethos, primarily. It's spilling out into the community, and it's good. It's good to see that this question is being raised. And I think it spreads out because we're in a war between the people who wear masks and the people who don't. The people who think that there's climate change and the people who don't. And so on and so on. That we're in a narrative war. Nobody sees any problem, and yet some people want to believe that there is some problem going to happen in the future, though they can offer no evidence for it. So,
well, I tell you what, one thing this is certainly exposed is that there are two different type of ideologies at hand here. Like now the people that wear the mask are clearly in one separate camp of a way of thinking, and then the people that don't wear the mask are in a totally other camp and a different way of thinking. So I think right there you can identify who's not one of you by mask wearing.
Yeah, that may be it. And the way those mask wearers think is ultimately a fearful way of thinking. And, maybe I'll bring this up tomorrow as well, but there's a psychiatrist, and he said that if you're in fear, you cannot think critically. You just cannot. So, putting out facts and truth about the world to a person who's in fear has no effect whatsoever. They will scream against it because they cannot process critical, rational thought if they are afraid. That's it.
Well, I think it has to do something with the hippocampus, where a lot of different compartments in your brain shut down when you're in fear. Yep. Same thing like hunger. If you're hungry, you're not going to be reading a Plato.
Yeah, that's
right. You're like, shit, I'm hungry. You start reading it, like, God damn it, I'm hungry again. I'm on the beach today, and I'm reading a book, and my stomach started growling, and I knew just put the book down because I'm not going to be able to retain information because all I'm thinking about is getting something to eat.
That's right, and that's why the school, breakfast project or lunch project to make sure kids get a meal really makes a lot of sense. When the kids get something to eat, they can focus and learn. Okay, that's good. Yeah. And with all the single mothers out there, doing the coke, whatever else, the crack, and it's good to get the kids in and at least give them a chance at something, I guess. But this is part of the project too. This is the mask wearers. These are the do-gooders. These are the people that want to control other people. And they're living in a state of fear, and they can't process that all the numbers are saying there's no great problem. And we now have this competing narrative that if you say you take this anti-malarial drug with a antibiotic and zinc, that you'll get over it. Well, there's no way that's true, but it's just a competing lie as a narrative. And if you do it, okay.
Well, the pandemic is over. I mean, it's legitimately over. Yeah. Anything at this point talking COVID is thrown right out the window. And I keep saying how they're going to keep rolling out at 2 weeks. Just wait another 2 weeks. Another 2 weeks. To you, 2 weeks is a vacation. So when the government or the experts say 2 weeks, oh, okay, I can wait another 2 weeks. Oh, I can wait another 2 weeks. They didn't tell you that this is going to stretch on until August.
Yeah.
We predicted that. People in the red pill community understood that.
We understood
but it's very similar to the war on terror. Well, how do you know what a terrorist is? Who's a terrorist? It's an invisible enemy. What are we dealing with now? It's another invisible enemy. It's another invisible boogeyman.
Oh man, time in a bottle. People, these mask wearers. And, I saw Joe Biden with one that was built to allow his nose out. This is nuts. The whole thing is nuts. The mask doesn't help. And the death rate is way low, even admitted, way low. And some people can't wear masks because they have breathing problems. And I don't know, it's like virtue signaling. We've got the virtue signalers against the people who actually live. So the virtue signalers are those who want to signal but not do, and then we have the doers who do and don't signal. How's that?
Absolutely. The other thing I've come to realize is this: using COVID as an excuse for a breakdown in civil order, a breakdown in democracy as far as just basic rules of law. Now everyone's confused on what can we do and what can't we do, instead of just going back to a pragmatic and somewhat primitive way of right and wrong. So if, let's say, a corporate body has a meeting of some kind, where you have to record meeting minutes of if you're shareholders of a corporation, right. Oh well, we can't have a meeting now because of COVID. So now the board can go around and start being corrupt, stealing money, graft, what have you, corruption, all in the guise of afraid of meeting in person because of COVID.
Yeah, maybe so. That's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. However, I'm going to also say that you do meetings on Zoom, and they can be recorded, like all of it. And so, and after the meeting, you can send that to everyone, and there's the minutes of meetings. And so you get somebody to run through it and take notes or whatever for you. But yeah, there may be good things, there may be bad things to come of this in terms of accountability. But we're getting no accountability from the World Health Organization, who apparently wishes to tell Donald Trump what he can tell other Americans. And this is, I think, the scariest thing I've ever seen. The Twitter people referring to the WHO, which is an unaccountable international body with serious governance issues, trying to tell the American people what their president can tell them. I can't believe it.
Well, we already know that the international body's objective is to destroy whatever's left of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, any way of subverting any form of civil liberty and freedoms left in the world. That's what they're about. I mean, we already know what the UN is. Anybody that's read the UN Declaration of Human Rights know that is the left's Bible at this point, where you don't listen to your inalienable rights don't come from God anymore. They come from the state, as what the UN Declaration states.
Yeah, and then it's going to be the state has to listen to the UN. So, and nobody elects those people, you see. So now we have an unelected, unaccountable, unresponsive group of people from countries that have failed and been bailed out by America time and time again, trying to destroy America. I think that's part of it. That they can't make it, and so they attack anyone who does make it, and that's it.
Correct.
And we see that with the mask wearers, a lot of them. Then with the Antifa, I can't be successful, so no one can be successful. Yeah.
Well, it's almost impossible to be successful now in the United States. Since COVID's happened, prices of everything have skyrocketed. And if they were to pull the $600 a month, which is what's anticipated at this point, I don't think it's going to actually happen because of GDP factors. If they pull the 600, I think it will knock 2% off the GDP for the next quarter.
Yeah.
Which, if you're unable to sustain the GDP, that means you can't pay your debts, and if you stop paying your debts, you become insolvent, which is what the United States fears the most.
Yeah. Yeah. Currently, the U.S. still pays their bills, so everyone trusts it. But if this thing continues on and you get negative GDP for a couple of quarters, people are the interest rate will go up, and then that's risk, and then the risk eventuates. And we have a failed currency. And so this may be the debt jubilee everyone's talking about, because most of the debt in the world is valued in U.S. dollars. So if it hyperinflates or something,
there'll be no jet jubilee. I highly doubt that.
Yeah, no, it'll be a currency disaster, thus removing all ways to collect or something. So there won't be any point in collecting. So yeah, we're moving into totalitarianism, and in fact, let me refer to an image on the screen, which is the map over there on the bottom left, which is surveillance. So despite the fact that the United States is technically bankrupt and is kicking the can down the road by increasing the debt on the children, it has lots of money to spend on surveillance and creating a panopticon, a situation where the government can view everything you do. They can listen to everything you do. In California, as Lamprey Milt has sent me a document saying that California is ready to institute something known as pre-crime. Can you tell us about the pre-crime, Lamprey?
Well, it's to snuff out any type of crime before it actually happens. It's Minority Report. We're living through Minority Report. I just got an article from one of our guests that comes on the Mgtow chat series about how they're installing cameras that can read people's body temperature before they enter a building. Right. So now when you enter a building, you get scanned to see if you have a fever. If you have a fever, you can't go to work or you can't enter your apartment because of liability issues.
Right. This is, this is like we're being run like machines or something like that. And eventually, people don't get sick. They don't pass the sickness on. Humans their immune systems break down, and they'll get sick over anything and die because their immune systems won't be strong. No, I'm not saying that some people with sicknesses should be exposed, but if you have a predisposition, if you have pre-existing conditions, you got to take care. But for everyone else, no. Getting and giving microorganism-caused illnesses has been part of our ability to survive in the world. So I think it's Senate Bill 755. Yeah. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of bills here in California, all these propositions, and we're seeing money being spent on all of this. So they're going to look into your brain somehow, into your past actions, and predict that you probably will. And so you can't do certain things. You can't own guns. You can't get certain jobs. This is going to be it. It's the end.
Right. They're going to expand. They're going to expand background checks to many different aspects of one's life. And don't be surprised if they're going to start going after people's health records. That's protected at the moment, but I think under the guise of COVID, again, they're going to start trying to figure out ways how to circumnavigate certain privacy laws.
Yeah. So, this is, a lot of people are talking about Mgtow, and some Mgtow trying to, get off the plantation completely and go live in the woods. Well, this may be the only option for anyone who doesn't want to, become like an automaton in a factory. This is seeming like it's a non-human factory that people have to, be perfectly healthy and be perfectly compliant with every order, or else you're going to be dispossessed of any rightful involvement with the community. Okay, that's it. Meanwhile, the police are stealing your stuff on the street with these forfeitures,
Right.
My oh my. This is cyberpunk. And there's a number of books you can read about cyberpunk prognostications, and they seem to be coming true. This is dystopia.
Well, the normie con is, I want to say bootlicking, but you see this affinity for police and law and order, which I understand is that what the middle class is trying to do is hold on and retain some type of normalcy with law and order and due process. And what the people aren't understanding, the mask wearer, is that law and order has actually been thrown out the window. Right, so if you go back to during COVID, you had the people protesting over the small businesses and the lockdowns and stuff. Well, here comes Antifa and Black Lives Matter to just fuck up your shit and say, to hell with you and your stupid little protests and your signs out on Capitol Hill. We're just going to go ahead and start burning things to the ground. And what's the normie con's reaction is rally around the police. Well, I just found out that they had to support the police rally in Denver. They were, the normie con was out there, support your police, support local businesses, blah, blah, blah. And then Black Lives Matter just comes along and starts beating the shit out of these, the normie cons. The cops who were there just sat there and abide watching Black Lives Matter beat the shit out of the people that were supporting them. And it's for whatever reason, it's not clicking in the normie con's head that, hey, look, the police are not actually protecting you. They're protecting Black Lives Matter. And for the police commission, for all the police commissioners to stand there with their local officials who are trying to subvert their police force is absurd.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's it's an overindulgence in absurdity. Nothing makes any sense. It's all absurd. And the police seemingly are protecting BLM to protest, and BLM says has those 10 points, which are reasonable, that the police should be more accountable. But the police don't want to be more accountable, so they'll just support the riots and make everyone afraid. Because if you're fearful, you won't recognize that the police are, have declared war on America, not only the police, but other systems. They're stealing your stuff. They're building a pan-opticon to watch your every move, and they're thinking about introducing pre-crime so they can arrest you even though you've done nothing bad. So
right, exactly.
And so they don't care. They just want people to be in fear. So, men, don't be in fear. We've seen this before. Empires have fallen for similar reasons and been rebuilt in a totalitarian mold. That's going to happen. So right now, I'm advising good men, take what you can. Make a plan. Get ready. Have a backup plan. And welcome Bob the Monk and everyone else. But welcome Bob the Monk. It's been a long time. Hope you're doing well.
Hooray. Bob made it.
Yep. Yeah. Yes, excellent. Nice that you're back into the circuit this year. I'm glad that it came up and it's going. There's some concerns that everything's going to be closed down, but luckily, I think racers wear a mask anyway, don't they? Maybe not. Maybe an oxygen mask. Pump me up on a little heavy oxygen to keep me focused and keep time stand still, so I can shift the gears even faster. But
The other thing is, I think a lot of other nations have just had it with America's vitriol and this form of imperialism. So many other nations are more than willing to watch the United States fall and not actually support Trump or the country. And they're just like, to hell with America.
And I think America should say to hell with them. This is what Donald Trump was saying. He said, stop the globalist outreach, the regime change wars, all the, foreign aid and all this shit. And America should make America great again. And part of that is not worrying about what the other countries do or think or need or whatever. And so on the one hand, they don't want the intervention of America, but then when they say it's going to stop, they don't want that either. So we're into absurdity.
Right, yeah.
So, there are people willing to watch America go down, but America goes down first, everyone else goes down soon after. There's just no way. What keeps the world safe, as such, the West safe at least, is the Constitution of the United States of America. That goes, we're lost, everyone in the West. So, we're counting on someone to just do the right thing, but we're not seeing that in the Supreme Court. They were compromised under Chief Justice John Marshall back in the early 1800s. And then Chief Justice Taney, with his slave-supporting decision, really destroyed the court. It's been a shell, just, marching America towards totalitarianism ever since. So...
Well, I think it's just there's too many people in the wheelhouse trying to steer the United States right now. You can see there's multiple factions at the very top, bickering and fighting, and it trickles down to, the lower rungs of the United States. And the country's too big. I mean, 330 million people. I've discussed with you many times that I have nothing in common with people from the West Coast. It just seems like a very different culture, different group of people. It's not like, look, we all speak English in the United States and for the large swaths of Canada, but that's like saying people from Argentina have the same culture as Mexicans just for the mere fact that they speak Spanish, and that's not the case. So it's either we balkanize and we go back to some type of grassroots where it's local, or there's going to be some type of it can't go into socialism. It can't go into communism. It's just not possible. You won't have the left doesn't have an army. It truly doesn't have an army to fight. It's not possible. There's too many people that are opposed to these type of ideologies that are being imposed on us. But the problem is when you have corporations, when my TV manufacturer is telling me I'm a white supremacist, that's pretty dangerous. That's really bad. When Kellogg's and Post cereal both say that there's systematic racism, that's really bad. So there's different ways that this can be played out, and the situation is very fluid. The biggest issue is the country's too big. Country needs to break up, and it needs to be brought back to some type of localism.
Yep. We may be at that point where the country is too big. These corporations, which are registered in America, they are incorporated and get their legal existence because of America, are stabbing America in the back now. They made some money. They went global. They think the future is in the global approach. And Mark Zuckerberg, apparently in testimony said, Facebook is proudly American. No, you're not. You're a fucking piece of shit, treasonous bastard. You just censored the president of the country talking to other Americans. You aren't proudly American. You're a piece of shit, treason, traitor. You hate America. That's why you don't want to have Americans talking to Americans, which has happened in my entire life up until recently. I wouldn't think of interfering in an American saying whatever they want, right or wrong, to another American. And if Americans try to tell Canadians what they can say to other Canadians, they can go fuck themselves, as it's right. But now we got Zuckerberg telling President Trump what he can tell Americans? Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, America's too big if it can't control these corporations, which are treasonous. So, yeah, there's an issue. Who do you trust? You can't trust the corporations because they're on the side of the crazies at BLM. You can't trust the police because they just want BLM to make more fear. So, yeah.
Well, that's very typical of a socialism in South America, where the politicians instigate crime to justify a bigger police budget.
Yep.
Now, when they talk about defunding the police, there's the whole defunding the police thing is the fact that we don't have the tax revenue to pay the police anymore. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So they've used this as an alibi to defund the police, when in fact the government doesn't have the balls, the chutzpah to say, "Hey, look, we're broke. We're broke." No one can say that we're broke. You notice that we have tons of money. No, we don't have tons of money.
No, you don't.
We have a lot of problems.
Yeah, but they're still constructing the pan-opticon. They got all this surveillance. They're militarizing all the equipment for the police. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So no, they're lying. They're lying. There's not enough money for half the things, and a lot of these things are gynocentric because they're engineered to appeal to women's sense of safety and security. That they want cradle to grave protection. That's what women want, but you can't do that. It's too expensive. And so. We have these demands, and they're gynocentric demands. And, the mask wearers is gynocentric. You can't stop people from dying. If you're sick, stay at home. Otherwise, live. But women are fearful about a lot of things, and maybe rightly so. They're weaker. They get into that state where they are fully dependent upon the good wishes of the community or a man or whatever. No, women have a different way of being. And they've taken over the helm of government and all these systems. And all of these are predatory towards men at this point. So opting out, that's the only choice. You have to opt out. And we see that everywhere. And young men are waking up that why in the hell would they get involved? Why in the hell would you get involved? Hold it. What the hell's going on, Iggy Noggy? Somebody downvoted this? You bastards. Welcome, downvoter. Welcome. They downvoted you, Lamprey Milt. They certainly wouldn't downvote me, right?
No, of course not.
Yeah, the men in the chat never. No. Hey, CJ. Nice to see you in here. Yep. Nice. Wild. Yeah. Now get out there and enjoy life, man. Get out there and enjoy life. Life should be enjoyed. Work hard, play hard, and put something away for when the whole thing goes to hell in a handbasket.
I was supposed to have a conversation with this guy named Tom Kaczynski tonight. At the last moment, I decided to cancel. He hosts the podcast called The Atlantic Nation.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it once. Give me 1 second.
With a name like Kaczynski, I'd be a little concerned in having a conversation with him too. Is he related? And I don't know. I think some of the older men will recognize that name, Kaczynski. Isn't that the Unabomber? Somebody can check for me.
Well, it's spelled a little bit different.
Okay, then.
Differently.
Fine. I'm joking, but
Tom Kaczynski.
Okay.
Yeah, but I decided at the last moment, because if you type in the guy's name, it's like AP, the ACLU wants him dead, the SPLC wants him dead and stuff. And he's actually a really nice guy, really just fantastic mind, brilliant mind. And I just didn't want to be associated with something like that. But
why did they want
he's
him
written because he talks about the breakup of the United States, balkanization, and he's talking about what would the United States look like post Second Civil War. So that's basically it.
Yeah, but that's what you're talking about too.
True. Yeah.
But you don't have the SPLC running after you, those bastards. Yeah.
No, I think I'm safe. for the time being.
Yeah.
For now. But you know what's so weird is that it really doesn't even matter anymore. Like, I'm listening to this guy. He has a really nice podcast. It's really just a great mind. I really enjoy his work. And they just hate him. And he's never hated on anybody. He's never said anything bad in his podcast about any group or ethnic group or religion since I've been binge listening to him. And it's just so strange that I just feel like they're just going to target like anybody or anything at this point. It's very incoherent. Very incoherent what the woke is doing.
Yeah, it is incoherent what they're doing. They're attacking, everyone if they just don't like your message. I think they don't like the message that America could possibly break up, and one part of America would be inhabited by men who don't wear masks and who don't put up with bullshit, and that part would become unusually successful. But it would be a permanent war, right? Because the rest of America, who are, the soy boy dependent mask wearing freaks, they would, fall apart and want to enter the rest of America. So we're not looking at a good future if it would happen to break apart and one part gets to be reasonable and the rest of it remains, as we would say, democratic, the Democrat Party.
Mm-hmm.
These people are nuts. So.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that there's no one on our team. That's the other frightening thing. Not a single politician is standing up to saying, "Hey, look, why is every single corporation supporting Black Lives Matter?" I mean, Black Lives Matter was just fringe craziness a few years ago, and now it's mainstream politics. That is not good.
Yeah, no, there's like sporting teams putting up banners of Black Lives Matter. Like sports teams. Well, like, what the hell is this? I don't know.
Well, it is over. That's the thing is that I listen to. You ever listen to Black Pill?
No, maybe occasionally.
David Stack. You never listen to him?
Which one is he? Black Pill Revolution or Black Pill Mgtow?
No, he is the OG Black Pill. There's only one Black Pill, and that's David Stack.
Okay.
He's like the original Black Pill. If you type in Black Pill, it's David Stack. There's no Black Pill Revolution, Black Pill Mgtow. No, I'm talking straight Black Pill.
Oh, okay.
Mr. David Stack. He has a PhD in cinema. He's phenomenal. He does these breakdowns on movies and stuff. Great mind. And he did a podcast that was about an hour long, and it's called "The Party's Over." And the party is definitely over. And how do I know the party's over? Is that sports is over. No one's going to watch sports anymore. It's dead. Think about it. They're able to bend. They're able to kneel and have this Black Lives Matter bullshit on, in a stadium. The only reason why they're able to do that is because there's no crowds. There's no one in the seats. There's no one in the stands. Because if there was people in the stands, guess what? People would be booing, throwing shit on the field.
Okay.
Right? Think about it. How if the New York Yankees are all kneeling, okay?
Yeah.
And if there was people in the stands, what do you think's going to happen?
Oh yeah, there'd be booing.
Do you think people are going to be they'll be booing, right? So now they can do it because there's no one in the stands, and there's no one there to protest it.
Yeah. So let me get this. So I haven't seen a picture of a sports like arena other than say rugby or something, and because of the COVID thing, they can hide the fact that there's no one in the stands, right?
Right.
So, but people must be watching on television because there's advertisers paying on television for people to watch it. So there's got to be enough people watching at home, right?
I highly doubt it. I don't think anyone's watching sports, man. Look, the whole point of sports was for people to get away from politics, an outlet.
That's right.
Right. You're right. That's over now. Now everything's politicized, and I've mentioned many times before. What you eat is politicized. Where you go to go shopping's politicized. The radio, the music, anything you do, the town you live in, the church, whatever it is, it's all in politics now. It's all in the guise of politics.
In the guise of politics. I like that. The guise. Because, as you say, it's absurdity. The politics is no longer a politics of helping the community improve or something. There's no great vision of what the community should be. The politics is a politics of bringing other people down so you can feel better. So it's a politics of, immediate emotivism, that you want to feel better. So that's the politics. If you feel better today, then that political move was good. So it's the rage baiting. It's the click baiting with hate baiting and fear baiting. If it can make you feel better, and if you feel something, even if it's fear, if you feel something, then you are alive. And so they love it. They love it. They want it. And it's absurd they're not thinking, because they cannot think. Because they're in fear, they're in rage, they're in hate. Oh my. Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's like a spiral, feeding on itself. It's like the snake feeding on itself. When you're in fear, when you're in hate, when you're in rage, you cannot think critically, and all you want is more fear, rage, and hate.
I've looked up recent statistic on gun purchases, and it's mostly people under the age of 30. The recent spike in gun purchases. So 2020, most people that have taken up arms happen to be young people.
Right.
Not good. So if you don't think it's actually coming, it's coming.
Something's coming. And what about these young people? Are they the soy boys, or are they the people who are still thinking intelligently and seeing that if I don't get armed, something's going to happen?
Well, there's too many. Look, because of the breakdown of the community and the breakdown of marriage, you're starting to see the ramifications of that. I've discussed a long time ago with IM about how no society has survived without some form of nuclear or extended family. If it's just a bunch of single people running around and having sex without procreation, or again having single moms, you're going to look like something like Africa. So we're starting to see that come to fruition, where now it's I don't know what the statistics are on how many single people are versus married people, but it's going up. It's going up. That's for damn sure. So if everyone's atomizing single and there's no community, the state's going to fill the vacuum, and bad things are going to happen.
Yes, the atomization. I'm trying to take notes here. It's atomized. It's identitarian, and it's we're getting to the law of the jungle, where it's all against all, any against any, each against each. And yes, you're right. Without any ties that bind, all the ties that bind are being cut. Except here in Mgtow, that we recognize that men, smart men who do not live in fear, men who are individualistic, but know that occasionally you play on a team, and that team, for the agreement that you play on it with, is going to be, beneficial. And so, at some point, the teams are going to be played, because what we see is the police are against the people are against the people, the government's against the people, and this is a bad situation, and it's not only in America, it's in Canada, it's in the West, and beyond. Although a lot of groups have not had an interpenetration by the world. Japan is still pretty Japanese, and South Korea is still pretty South Korean, and so on and so on. So.
Well, that's got it. Well, Japan's already started letting people from the Philippines in, just because there's just so many elderly people. Look, the objective is plain and simple, is to just mix everyone as much as humanly possible. That's why it's so important for people to be hooked to Wi-Fi. Why it's so important for people around the world to have internet. And they use the internet to basically deracinate and destroy cultures around the world. In Cambodia, for example, they've decided that you can't have letters out the Western alphabet as your main letters for a commercial sign. It has to be Cambodian, and then you could write English underneath it.
Right.
So there's been somewhat of a pushback towards this globalization, but it's inevitable. We already know it's inevitable.
Yeah, at some point there's going to be so many benefits to adopting a globalist approach, but that's not actually globalism. That's just a protection of a small language. But globalism doesn't really care what language you speak, because they're going to tie you into this whatever mindset they want. I think it's the mindset that's more important than the language.
Well, if you don't know English, you can't be a part of globalization, basically. So you have to learn English to be a part of it.
Oh, I'm going to disagree and say that it's being translated into other languages very quickly, very easily. So people are able to with automatic translation, like immediate translation, are listening to crap in different languages, and they're getting the message. They're not getting it 100% every time, but they're getting it. And so, and enough people in any country speak the language, then they speak it in their own language. Or speak English, and then they speak those ideas in their own language. And so the ideas about women being oppressed, this is going to spread around the world, regardless of what language you speak.
Well, what about the fact that, if you go to universities in, let's say, China or Indonesia, or even like parts of Africa, is that you have to learn how to speak English to gain access to like Western knowledge and Western science and what have you. And
oh yeah, definitely.
I'm hoping that there's going to be I'm hoping there's going to be somewhat of a bucking of the trend towards these type of things.
Well, no, I think it's a catch-22, because in English is the clearinghouse for knowledge, basically, and it's also the language of certain international jobs like pilots and stuff. So there's a great benefit to learning the language, but at the same time you get all this crap now from the social justice warriors, the Antifa, just the absurdity crowd, the emotivist crowd, who, and then you get enough people whipped up in the lies that they're now not thinking critically in any language, and that they're allowing the globalists to, move them into a feel-good state. If you just wave a BLM flag or wave a rainbow flag, you're now in the good crowd and you don't have to think. Just wave the flag and don't think. Wave the flag and don't think. Wave the flag.
Right. We'll wave the LGBT flag.
Wave it, I'm so happy. I'm virtue signaling. Don't think, wave flag, don't think.
How do you like how the Epstein things turned into a Me Too movement?
Who's Me Tooing whom?
Well, it's just spun. This whole thing is spun around where how brave and wonderful the young women are coming forward to tell their tale of how horrible it was to fly on a private jet to a Caribbean island.
Are these the underage ones, or any of them?
Oh, all of them.
All those bitches. Oh, God. Yeah, let's go meet some rich, powerful guys on an island where everything's paid for. Yeah, it was horrible.
Right, exactly. Just it was horrible, yeah.
And I met this guy, and he fucked my brains out, and I loved it, and I sent him SMSs.
Yeah, he paid for my college. I was able to go to Spain and fly on a private jet. It was terrible.
It's terrible. And now he doesn't contact me, 30 years later. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, regret rape.
It's funny.
Regret.
Yeah, no words of it. I don't hear anything of women dying. Have you heard about women dying or bodies? Is there killing fields on Epstein Island?
No, that's right. No,
okay.
For the most part, okay, there was some underage stuff and maybe some really bad underage stuff. That's separate. But for the most part, he just brought out, good-looking women, and they had a kinky weekend with rich and powerful men and some women, perhaps. And,
Yeah.
that was what mostly, I think, went on in the island. But, yeah, the super kinkies and then the moderately kinkies. So, yeah, no, a Me Too moment. Well, you see, that's it. It's coercive control. You make women horny by showing a big wad of cash and a private jet. Oh, I'll get on the private jet. Yeah.
Right, and then now they could make a book deal about a guy who's dead, unable to defend himself.
Yeah, that's right. Wait till they die. Write the book.
Write the book. The same thing happened with who's the great economist?
Friedman.
Milton Friedman, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as Milton Friedman died, Naomi Wolf wrote The Shock Doctrine, criticizing a guy who's dead. Well, why didn't you write it before his death? All because he was still alive. That will criticize what you had to write, right? Naomi Wolf got it.
Yeah. she got into. Was it her, Naomi Wolf, who wrote the book about
Yes.
Some issue that happened in medieval England, and she got it completely wrong. Anyway, I forget what it was, but if anyone wants to remind me, that would be good. But and then the publisher said, no, we don't have to check for the content. So the publisher fucked up too. Nobody cares. That's it. Nobody cares. Nice one, Bob. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. CJ's talking about individualism as a metaphysical concept, that ultimately no person is an island from everything else that's experienced. And we see this physically, where you take in air into your lungs and you got bacteria and gut flora in your stomach, and you can't isolate yourself from reality. So that's a practical thing. But ultimately, we are a reflection of the world, which is a reflection of the way we think. So it's a back and forth this way. And so there's a oneness to all of reality. And however, I'm going to say that without having an epistemological stance, a position, that no one could experience the world. So there has to be an individuation of thought in order to look at the world and say, oh, there's a tree, and here's me looking at the tree, although ultimately the tree and myself are both part together of a greater thing. However, there's also individualism as a political concept, which means that someone can't just kill you because there's a social need for someone to die, such as throwing a virgin into a volcano or something. That this is a human and you can't just dispose of them for your benefit. So this is a political concept of individualism. So there's many different ways to take individualism from different perspectives. And I like the metaphysical unity idea, and sort of the practical physical one. We're all in somehow a community together. And as you said, if the community's ties that bind them in the nuclear family, in the wider neighborhood, in the village.
Yeah,
right?
it's over, man.
It's over.
Done.
It's
done. That's already done.
Yeah.
So you have to get ready for whatever's coming next. And they already told the Davos, the World Economic Forum, have already have repeated the words of an economic reset. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Yeah. Let's check that out. So an economic reset, and I'm going to say we are in a large part economic animals, because all humans need resources. All life needs resources. And so an economic reset means access to resources reset. So if you're going to have an access to resources problem, that's not good. So one more time, good men, take what you can now. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah,
I put more MREs. Just started, Got myself a radio, portable, solar, hand crank ones, little things prepping
that's
along
nice.
the way. You
That's
know,
a good thing to have. Is that hand cranked radio, a solar panel and a hand crank. That can go a long way just to get some information, whether it's true or whether it's false. It's information, and there's going to be problems. Systems are going to go down. Electrical systems may go down. The internet may go down. We could get banned. They could, shit's going to happen. Shit's going to hit the fan big time, like a Teotihuacan. It's looking like it. And people are preparing. I think the police systems are preparing. They wanted the pan-opticon. I don't think they're going to get it for various reasons. But are you ready for whatever comes next? That's a great question, Milt.
Yeah. And we don't know. Again, we can't make predictions. We don't know the timing of these type of things. But there are 40 million people out of work, and we have to really take that into consideration. That there's a large swath of the American populace not working, and basic laws of economics is that people have to produce things, and if people stop producing things, everything starts to crumble.
Yeah. And even if there are robots making stuff, it's not going to hold in the long term. It's just not going to hold. So, and at all of this,
definitely planted something.
And all of this, we're looking at CJ, and he's got these great lines. Spirituality is the dissolving of identity, and identity is like an isolated unity. And so, yeah. If you are into a spiritual approach to reality, then, okay, the temporal ups and downs will come and go. But at the end of it, at the end of all of the economic reset or the political, rebellion or whatever is going to happen, which has happened in so many other countries, a spiritual person will live only if they take their personal safety seriously. And so... again, good men must take what they can now, but Mgtow Ghost level 4. That
yep, level 4, baby.
Don't go out and stick your head up for no value. There's no point in getting involved in any of this shit. Now, if you can, put some friction on the machine and get the leviathan to back off or something, so you got some space. Okay, that's good. And so this is a good thing to do. To try to create some time and space so you can get through your life decently, and but the Leviathan cannot be negotiated with. The Leviathan cannot be destroyed. So there's only a few sustainable approaches, and the main one is Mgtow Ghost level 4, baby.
I know, it's great. It's great. See, I want Biden to win. I'm an accelerationist at this point. I'm pro. Let's just go all out. Let's just give it. Let's open borders. Let's do it, baby.
Yeah.
Forced homosexuality. Let's do it.
Oh, baby. Yeah, that's it. Accelerationist. Let's bring it all down now. Set the charges and watch it come
Scuttle
down.
it.
Scuttle it. So I can begin fixing it up afterwards. Jesus, I know how it is. So,
all right, man. Well, listen, I'm gonna depart out of here.
Okay.
I have no air condition. It's brutally hot in my room.
Oh God.
Let's touch base during the week. We'll make something happen. All right. Why don't you come on our stream? Talk to I am sometime.
Yeah, I'll try to get Skype on here. Anyway, we'll end it right now, and it was nice having everyone in the chat, and we will be, I think, be on at the regular time with the listening post tomorrow. So remember, Mgtow aplenty in 2020.
2020.
See ya, man.